an online survey, and we wanted to get feedback from the community at large about their perceptions of Rochester schools. We were interested in parent results, but we had Harris polling results previously from parents. This was an attempt to get at the community members that might not have students in the district. One of the things that we did not receive was a great response to this community survey. And for it to be reliable, statistically, we were woefully short of the number of survey responses we would need to make any kind of firm conclusions about the results of the survey. So we want to present it this evening, but we want to make sure that caveat is in there that while the survey results may show some indicators of the opinions of some of our community members and parents, it is not at the threshold where you can say, well, plus or minus a certain percentage, this is what exactly the community is thinking in the direction you want to go in. So with that caveat, I'm going to turn over to Deb, who's analyzed the community results and has present some overall conclusions.
I know that the board has a copy of the survey, and I also prepared a memo for it. We'll be putting that information on the website after the presentation tonight so that the people who participate in the survey will be able to see what the breakdown was for each of the questions. But for tonight, I'm just going to kind of touch on some of the highlights. This survey was conducted from the beginning of August through mid-September. Our primary goal with the survey was to get community member input because we had the results from the Harris poll from our parents and our students and our staff. So we thought if we did it during the summer, it might attract the attention of the community members as opposed to doing it during the school year when people are really focused on what the district is, when parents especially are really focused on what the district is doing. We did extend it into September and sent out reminders as we extended the survey to individuals who had not participated yet. We promoted it through the district website, through our mail-out system. We put it in the update, which is the publication that's mailed to all postal patrons in Rochester, Rochester Hills, and Oakland Township. And then we also promoted it on our cable channel, and we had press releases that were covered by the Oakland Press and the Rochester Post. We had a total of 2,176 community members responding, and this was an increase of a little over 1,000 compared to the 801 responses we had to a paper survey that was mailed to residents in 2005 in the update. So we did get a better response on this survey than we did from the paper survey. And when you see that the main form of communication that people respond to is the district website, that it makes sense that there would have been an increase by promoting it on the website. This does represent 3% of all the registered voters in those three communities. We use the SurveyMonkey instrument, so there was no cost to the district for using this. And the SurveyMonkey is nice because it will do some, you can do some filtering with it. You can look at the data in different ways, and of course you get the instant results. You don't have to, on paper, tally up the answers that you receive.
Just a word about the 3%, if you focus on that, in order for this survey to be reliable and predictable, we would have had to have a return rate of about 15 to 20%. So woefully short of having that number to make the survey a really meaningful and predictable research kind of way.
Of the survey, there were some key positive responses that we got back. 80% of the respondents gave the district an A or a B, which is right in line with the Harris survey, the way our parents responded on the Harris survey. 91% of the respondents identified Rochester Community Schools as having an influence on their decision to move here. And in terms of the strengths of the Rochester Community Schools, respondents identified the quality of staff and teachers, the quality of curriculum programs, and parent interest and involvement in that order. There were several choices that people could make under this category, but those were the primary responses. We also found that over 60% of the respondents generally agreed that school administrators are interested in the opinions of residents. Community members are encouraged to partner with the district. Our teachers are well qualified. The district is results-oriented, and decisions are data-driven. The district has high academic standards. Teachers are enthusiastic about helping students learn. School employees have the resources they need to get the job done. School administrators stress parental involvement in the learning process. And the district offers a well-disciplined learning environment where students know what is expected of them. Some of the key negative responses Particularly, we looked at those among the respondents who gave the district a C or below. The areas that were identified as needing improvement were staff apathy, administration, and the district not listening to community members. The biggest challenges that people identified the district as facing, 58% identified financial state funding, 39% identified curriculum and standards, and 33% identified drugs or substance abuse. We were interested in what our parochial parents thought about the district because we've had a lot of discussion about why parents don't choose to send their children to a free public school. So we asked a question about why they chose private education for their child if they had done so. 8% of the respondents overall to the survey do have children enrolled in a parochial or private school. When they were asked about their decision to place their children in parochial or private school, they had several choices that they could make for responses. 42% of them responded that they didn't have any particular concerns about Rochester Community School, it just wasn't the right fit for their family. And in addition, 22% responded that they had chosen a religious atmosphere for their children to attend schools. We asked a couple questions that would require voter input if the Board of Education were to consider some of these options. One of them had to do with the sinking fund. 36% would support the sinking fund, but then 40% responded that it would depend on the cost to taxpayers. We also had a question that doesn't necessarily require voter input, but we thought was of great interest to our community at large, and that was school of choice, whether respondents would be in favor of making Rochester Community Schools a school of choice district, and 56% of the respondents said they would not be in favor of doing that. So, in conclusion, we find that the major strengths of the district is its staff and curriculum. Parents and community members generally have a favorable impression of the district. And then we noted that the number of districts who responded don't know on some of the questions seems to reflect the need for increased communication, particularly in the area of board leadership, the district's vision for the future, district efficiencies, and the Rochester Community Schools Foundation. And then we also found from the survey that the district website has become the primary source of information about Rochester Community Schools. Take any questions? Comments?
Anyone on the board have comments or questions?
Do we know why they were not in favor of school of choice? Is there any kind of rationale?
No, we didn't ask. We just asked them. We described what school of choice was briefly in the survey, and then we just asked, would you be in favor of it or would you not be in favor?
Mrs. Hartman, I have it in here, but you might know this number. The number of parents of parochial students, do you know what the number count was on that?
It's I believe if you look at the second, the question that asks whether you have, if you look at your survey results, and I think the question, I think it might be number 3 or 4. That should give you a breakdown of the total number of parents who responded that they did not have children in Rochester Community Schools.
Okay, I see that.
I think it was about 300. I'm just from memory.
Thank you. It was 345.
340.
Any comments or questions regarding the survey from members of our audience?